Welcome to the sports segment on my community. My name is Bayonle Arashi. Happy new month. The month of June is here and it's very exciting for me in particular as it's my month of birth, and I'm looking forward to a lot of adventures in this month of June and for the rest of 2019. Straight to the sport news I have for you today on the show. Andy Ruiz knocked out Anthony Joshua in a historic fight at the Madison Square Garden on Saturday, June the 1st in New York. Ruiz upset Joshua with a 7th round knockout to earn the WBA, WBO and IBF heavyweight titles. Ruiz becomes the first Mexican descent to win a major heavyweight titles in that particular fight. Joshua was knocked down twice in the 3rd round and twice more in the 7th before referee Mike Griffin had to stop the fight. The unbeaten Anthony Joshua came into that particular fight with 30-1 odds to win that particular game. Both fighters were 29 years old, with Anthony Joshua having just a little bit more reach than Ruiz, but not many people gave Ruiz any chance in that particular fight on that day. Anthony Joshua was supposed to fight with Baby Miller. They call him Jarrell Big Baby Miller, but of course he was replaced by Ruiz after Miller failed 3 drug tests in that particular one. The Brit has immediately triggered the rematch. There will going to be a rematch of that particular fight that will come up probably in November or December of this 2019. But really, what happened to Anthony Joshua in that particular fight, none of us can explain it. We know him as a very heavy fighter, straight puncher, heavy puncher. But of course, in the 3rd round, he was the first person that knocked down Andy Ruiz. But Ruiz came back. That particular knockout looked like rejuvenation of sorts for Andy Ruiz, and of course he knocked Joshua twice down in that same 3rd round, and Joshua never ever recovered until that particular match was stopped in the 7th round. What do you think happened to Anthony Joshua, and do you think if Ruiz indeed agreed to fight that fight again in England, because they are touting the game to be either in England where Anthony Joshua is from originally, or they have the rematch right here in New York again, or maybe they take it somewhere else, but definitely they won't take it to Mexico because Andy Ruiz is of Mexican descent, but of course he was born right here in America, California to be precise. Let's talk about that particular fight. A shock to the world, everybody must say, but of course we have to move on now. Moving on to the next story on the show today. The West African derby game between Senegal and Nigeria ended in favor of Senegal at the ongoing FIFA Under-20 World Championship. Senegal beat Nigeria by 2-1 to really ended the misery for the Flying Eagles of Nigeria. There's a particular striker in that particular Senegalese squad. His name is Amadou Sanya, and I see a very big future for that young striker. He scored the first goal for Senegal with a clean finish for the Senegalese before Nigeria scored a goal back at the beginning of the 2nd half, but of course they had to go out of that tournament. Shamefully, of course, I said it last week on the show. I personally am very disappointed at their performance, but it is what it is. NFF, well, they'll be going back to that drawing board again. I hope the drawing board never breaks down sometime soon, but we have to move on and do the right thing for the beautiful game in Nigeria. Of course, Mali also came from behind to claim their own quarterfinal spot against Argentina. The Argentines have won the championship 7 times in the past, but Mali came back to draw the game 2-2 in the extra time. And of course, the Malians, they scored all their 5 spot kicks to really knock out the Argies in that particular one. And of course, there will be all the quarterfinal games from tomorrow. When I say tomorrow, I mean Friday, because if you are watching the repeat episode of this show, it must have been broadcasted yesterday. Of course, United States also moved on in that particular one, and they will be playing Ecuador in their own quarterfinal fixture. Of course, the last fixture will be between Ukraine and Colombia. Do you think Senegal and Mali will go all the way in the championship? Of course, put your comments right below wherever you're watching this from, and let's keep the discussion going. My handle is at Maida Soccer, is showing on the screen right now, and of course I'm always very interested in the best sports news and event on the show. Finally, on the show today, on the sports segment, there seems to be no end to misery of Brazilian star Neymar. Neymar will miss, he will now miss the 2019 Copa America that they will be hosting. It was a very, very big shock for him. The Brazilian star suffered an injury against Qatar in their friendly game on Wednesday. Very, very sad one for that particular guy right there from Brazil. They won the game by 2-0, but he suffered an injury in the 20th minute of the game and have to be helped out in that particular game. The Brazilian president did visit him at the hospital, and of course he said he wished him the best. But also, just last week Friday, someone from Paris, a lady, her name is Nigeria Trindade, filed a rape allegation against Neymar. He said Neymar raped him at a Paris hotel, and of course he filed a suit against him. They actually had a settlement with the lawyer of the lady and Neymar's lawyer, but of course the lawyer said they did not agree with the term because there was nothing like rape in that particular. Neymar also came out by sharing some WhatsApp information between him and the lady to try to prove his innocence. I don't know the truth about it, but I really, really wish that guy comes out of this one successfully and really get back to doing what he knows how to do best, that is playing the beautiful game of football. That's about it for me on this week's segment of My Community Sport. It's been very good pleasure bringing it to you. Special thanks to my producer Ayodeji for always pushing me to get this thing done every week. And I see you guys again next week, God willing. My name is Bayonle Arashi. Bye bye now.